So Friday, I decided I would try Trovo, which is a different streaming platform than Twitch. And anything that's not Twitch is, in my opinion, worth a fair shake. Mixer was a tragedy whenever that shut down, and I felt like there's no competition. There's no way that anybody can stream anywhere that's not Twitch, because God knows streaming on YouTube doesn't really do it. But I tried Trovo on Friday and thought it was pretty handy, and there are a lot of different pros that I saw to it and very few cons when compared to Twitch. And really quick, because I'm running out of time on lunch break, I'm going to list every single reason that I thought Trovo was superior to Twitch, and I'm not going to have any sort of, flashy graphics or any of that kind of thing showing you point number 1 and point number 2 up on the screen, because A, I'm recording this on my phone in my truck in the middle of lunch break, and 2, I don't provide that kind of flashiness to my videos. You know that already. Number 1 is that it's handy to just have an announcement in the chat whenever somebody joins the channel. And that is something that I feel like every platform should have by default. I mean, obviously, for a streamer who's got 30,000 viewers, that's going to be extremely inconvenient to just have a notification pop up the instant somebody comes in, because people are coming in every instant. And that would be something that they would need to have turned off. But for somebody that is a small channel and does not have a large viewer base, that's pretty handy to have, just so you can welcome people to the channel. Excuse me. I do feel like Twitch really ought to have had that by now available for small streamers, and I'm hoping that as Trovo seems to be growing, not by very large margins, but steadily growing per week in viewer base, I feel like that's something Twitch ought to take a look at adding to their own channels as an option. Number 2 is the fact that it's got a smaller viewer base and it has a much smaller streamer base, so people do drop in more often. On Twitch, discoverability for a smaller channel is absolutely garbage. Anybody that has attempted to stream on Twitch knows that. Whenever I'm streaming Arma 3, Code 4 Gaming King of the Hill, I'll be lucky if I can meet a new person within a 24-hour period, like 24 hours of streaming Arma 3. And that is partially due to the fact that Code 4 Gaming King of the Hill is one of the only 2 things that ever get streamed on Twitch in the Arma category, because everybody's either on a role-playing server like SG, or they're in a Code 4 Gaming King of the Hill server. That's the only 2 things that get streamed on Twitch. So there's really not a whole lot of other servers in Arma that are fun to play. Therefore, you're I'm isolated to that, and there's not a whole lot of people that'll just click on you to watch that. So the discoverability is definitely higher on Trovo because there's less people to click on, less channels to view. So you do wind up with more people dropping into the channel, and it's nice whenever a little notification pops up in the chat to say they're here. That is very handy to have. Number 3 is that the subscription costs to channels are cheaper. If you want to subscribe to a channel, such as me, I subscribe to Good Life on Trovo, the subscription start at $2, which is a heck of a lot better than Twitch, where subscription starts at $6. And while that's a difference of $4, which really isn't that much, whenever you're subscribing to a bunch of different channels, it adds up, and it definitely makes it a lot cheaper in the long run if you habitually watch a streaming platform and watch a lot of different streamers. Number 4 that I can think of off the top of my head, there's not a whole lot of other things immediately because I didn't spend that much time on there, but I noticed there was about 3 seconds of latency whenever I was streaming. I would take a hit off my vape, and then I'd look over at the stream example that it shows on the other monitor, and I would immediately take a vape as soon as I saw myself do it on there. It was very low latency, and not any quality lost either. It was still streaming 1080p 60 frames. It was fantastic. The latency was non-existent, and you can set the latency to be different, obviously, in OBS, but I didn't have my latency set very high at all, and it was practically non-existent, just like Mixer used to be. RIP Mixer. Number 5 that I can think of is that there's a lot more things for chat to do. Like on Twitch, you can subscribe and you can donate and you can use channel points, and there's not a whole lot of mystique about that. There's nothing really to discover. It's very basic, very minimal, and anything that a streamer adds to that will add to the pool of things that a viewer can do besides just sit there and watch. But Trovo already has some stuff built in that are additional things for a viewer to do. There's like a slot machine where as you're watching, you're accruing channel points the same way you do on Twitch. And there's a certain number of channel points that you get to where you can roll on the slot machine and it'll give you more points or it'll give you less points, as I discovered, much to my dismay. And you can use those points to cheer in the chat. I don't know if the emotes that you put in the chat actually benefit the streamer monetarily. I feel like they probably won't, because channel points already don't do that on Twitch, because if channel points were monetized, people would be farming their own channel points. I don't think Trovo would have the same thing, but there is a slot machine where you can win more channel points, so that there's always, it's like polls on Twitch that somebody will tie to the streamer points, where you can gamble on a yes or no question, or a survive or not in a match question, or something to that effect. Trovo already has that inbuilt, and that's pretty neat to have. There's a lot of different emotes that you can have that are tied to the channel points too, and they all look really goofy. There's one that I saw that was like one of those scanners, like what somebody working in a retail store has, that they scan barcodes on the shelves with, except that it had a mouth. And yeah, it's really some goofy emotes they got on there. Something that, you know, there's droves of emotes on Twitch, but you don't really see very many things quite as zany actually default with the streaming platform on Twitch as you do with Trovo. It was pretty interesting. Can't think of anything else off the top of my head right now, but that is just a couple things that I was going to very briefly mention, is that it feels better for connecting with people that are watching and connecting and developing community with. And you definitely have some new things to discover with the channel point system. I don't know if there's add-ons available for it. That's something that I never invested myself into much with Twitch, so why would I bother with Trovo? But who knows, maybe they've got something unique on there that I might actually give a shot. I'm going to put a link in the description of this video to Good Life's channel. I will not provide one for my own because I don't do anything entertaining on there. I've only streamed on there once, but I intend, once 9.2 drops in World of Warcraft, to go ahead and start streaming that. I'm still not going to provide a link though, because I'm just that kind of asshole. Y'all have a good day.